subsidiary.
We had to get a fund management license and form a new company. So we formed a new company. CMA gave us a fund management license. 2013.
Nabo Capital
was born.
Okay, before we talk about Nabo Capital, you know this story of yours has too many success stories and no horror stories.
Yeah.
Are there times when money was lost?
Yes.
Yeah, let's also give the other side of the picture.
And by the way, that's a very important thing you've said.
Yes.
Your investment has both sides. You make and you lose. And one that I will never forget, was when one day I was walking on Ngina Street. There's a guy who sells a newspaper there. And I was walking to the office very early in the morning. I just parked my car. And I'm like, let me peep on the headlines. And I see this headline on Nation. Airtel slashes tariffs by 67%. I was frozen. And I was like,
imagine the shift of customers buying.
Inside my stomach, I felt something and I said these words, today I'm having a bad day.
Oh. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Man, I was like, the 2 months before that, I was the biggest buyer of Safaricom. I was buying 50 million shares every day.
Of Safaricom? Why is there a limit on how much you can buy a day?
There is no limit.
But still, 50
I was the biggest
buyer.
I would buy 50 million shares and I would switch off my phone because people would call me and they need a piece of our business.
Yeah.
And we had made like 79 million profit within 2 months. Now, this Airtel slashing tariffs just meant one thing.
Customers are moving. Share prices drop.
I remember I got to the office and the first person I called was James Muchiri. I'm like, James, have you seen the headlines? He's like, what do you want us to do? And I was like, we've got to sell from now. And he's like, do what you need to do. That's the one thing. You notice James and I worked very well. Very well. It was one of the best working partners.
First of all, I love the research. I mean, like, you've explained one of the ways in which you do research. Buying the newspaper, finding out what's happening currently and what's going to happen in potential future.
Understanding.
And also the history of the company.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very scientific what we do.
Yeah.
It's an art and a science, by the way.
Yes.
So,
I like that. It's an art and a science.
It's an art and a science. And the art is the biggest one.
Yep.
So, the market opened at 9:30. Share price was at 5 shillings and 60 cents.
You had bought, like, let's say
my average price was at about 5 shillings and 35 cents.
Okay.
Now, the first trade 560, second trade 550, We went every next trade was lower than the previous one. We went until 5 bob. When it got to 5 bob, it was like the whole market froze because this is the IPO price. From here, everybody is making losses.
You already made losses because
I'm already in the red. I'm already in the red.
Yes.
Then one foreign investor just gave an order, sell at 4 shillings and 90 cents. And a big trade went through. Boom.
Red.
The moment it went through, I say the floor collapsed. There was no more floor. It was down all the way.
Yes.
My last selling price.
Don't tell me 1 bob, please.
My last selling price was 4 shillings.
Yeah. But when you're talking about hundreds of millions of shillings,
yes,
that is hundreds of million shillings being lost. In fact,
I lost that day. I crystallized losses of 160 million shillings. It was the biggest loss I had ever suffered in my investment career at that point. And it taught me a lot. That loss taught me more than any other stock I had made money on. First, it taught me that when things change, you must be bold enough to know it has changed and you change with it, regardless of the price. And because the price went further to 2 shillings and 85 cents.
Wow.
So now, the others who, if I waited more, would have gotten
300 million loss.
More.
But let me ask also, there was no option of believing that let's play the long game with this, because the shares of Safaricom shot up again later on.
It took years.
Oh, it took years.
It took years, my friend.
Oh, it wasn't.
It was not months. It was years.
Yeah, ni kama Bitcoin sahi, eh?
Exactly. So, anyway.
That's okay. So, but what's the second lesson then?
It taught me you've got to be bold to take your losses. It is still investment when you take your losses.
Yes.
Secondly, it also taught me that there is always another better opportunity, because we took that money and we invested in another stock and we recovered that money before our year was over.
Nice. Did you have to answer now this to the board? What's this 150 million loss that we're seeing in our Excel, in our spreadsheet?
I mean, there is accountability for it.
Yes.
But by the end of the year, when we were reporting, we were all covered. The worst would have, if I stayed with it, even if
nothing, yes,
we would have made more loss. You know. So for me, that was one of the best learnings in my investment career. Best. In fact, today when I'm interviewing people to join my team, especially in investment, I would always ask, have you ever lost money? If you've never lost money or not, you don't have the experience to join our team.
Yep.
You need to feel it. So now we form Nabo Capital.
Okay, just before Nabo Capital again, I want to hear about Helima's role in this time of year. Because you're newly married at this time.
We are newly married.
You started in getting planes and
so I mean, you can see we are newly married, and my career has totally taken a different. Has really been accelerated. There's 1 year. There's 1 year I remember I was promoted twice in the same year. I had to ask James whether he made a mistake. He told me, no, I have not made a mistake. I know what I'm doing. So remember the verse, he who finds a way finds a good thing and obtains favor. Yes. I was experiencing this favor. This uncommon favor.
Yeah.
And not just me, even the business.
Yep.
You know. And
also, let's just also be honest, even the business through you.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So
hence why you're being promoted. People don't promote people who are not.
Absolutely. So for me, my point was just the context. You know, there's always something bigger. And for me, I really believe, and I've observed very many people's lives. Look at Tiger Woods. When things went haywire with his wife, he took so long. I mean, it was a dip. You know, so it is true that Proverbs 18:22 is a living scripture.
Let me ask. This period of the targets that are set on you, if you were busy before, now this is a new level of busy. How, and this transition, you are adapting to it as well. And it's an excellent transition in the company because it's more opportunity for you. And remember your goal at the end of the day, which you've been telling me from the beginning of this story, poverty is not going to be knocking on your door. How does a marriage, this is a break of marriages. You get what I mean? If you focus just on career, I would like to understand how, as career is beginning to excel, how are you maintaining marriage?
Very present. I remained very present. Other the times that we were traveling for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was very present. And then I didn't grow alone. I was growing with my wife. That's another thing that I've seen. Our wives know our businesses like they work in those businesses. I heard once James Moore saying that every day they are praying on their dinner table, they pray for Centum. So that's how important our places of work, because these are our places of ministry, are important even at home, even to our wives.
If you communicate it,
if you separate it, you have a problem. You get it? But if you've got to grow with your wife. So one of the things I really committed was to grow with my wife, and we grew together.
Grow with my wife can sound very ambiguous.
Yes.
Give me tangibles. Like you would tell her about your day to day. She was aware. It's not I'm traveling.
Yes.
Or is it I'm traveling to Nigeria and I'm going to meet this and this is what I'm about to try and do.
Being a CEO is a very lonely thing. And having your wife as your best friend is a very good place for releasing.
It's true.
You get it? But also we didn't make it a subject matter, because I never wanted to our core discussion to be about work. So because it would really, so for me, going home was also a nice breakaway from the challenges of the day. The challenges of the day. But she knew almost every other thing. What are my challenges, especially challenges, but would never make them that it's the only this is the main conversation. You get it? But she was present. She was present, and that's something that I've seen with people who are successful, that I admire are successful. Not everybody, that there is no this is a good point to say this. There's nothing called work-life balance.
Yes.
It is a blended life.
Yep.
You get, there's nothing like Pius on Sunday and Pius at work. It is the same person.
Yes.
So you don't live two lives. You live one life. And all these things are mixing in.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful to hear. In terms of, I'm getting to NABO, but I'm trying to understand your trajectory there. So in Centum, you rise the ranks.
Yes.
I heard you say you became director at Centum.
Yes.
Before NABO.
Yes.
Whoa.
So not the board director, the executive director.
I get it.
Yes.
Within the pillar of public.
Yes.
Okay.
So became the director for quoted private equity.
Yes. Then that's when they're like, okay, too many guys are coming to knock on our door. In fact, that shows you the success that Centum attained. By the time private investors are coming to say, man, we want you guys to manage our portfolio, and your legislation does not allow that to happen. It must have been so many different people coming to the point of making the decision to open up a subsidiary. Because they knew to know what a lot on the table, guys.
It was still kind of our initial plan. That's why we went separate. We unbundled the portfolio.
Yeah.
But it came sooner.
Yes.
It came sooner.
That shows the speed at which, first of all, I absolutely congratulate Maury as a CEO of Centum.
Fantastic.
And I think you are doing excellent in narrating his story, talking about his leadership, because the only way you could excel is he's trusting you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're his, and I say put KYM in quotes, but you're his ground.
Absolutely.
Boots on ground.
To give honor to whom honor belongs.
Yeah.
And that's an honor we give him.
Ooh. In all of this, before
and CK too.
I was going to say that. In all of this, what role is CK playing? Because I've been with you to CK's house, and your relationship with him was I was blown away by it. In fact, you completely changed my perception. That visit to his house completely changed my perception on who he was because of me seeing your interaction with him. In this time before Nabo, tell me a little bit about CK, because unfortunately he's not here. He's transitioned, but we know where he's gone, which is wonderful.
Yes. So the thing is this, you have this group of young guys who are executing, they are full of energy and ambition. And CK, he sits on the board, but he also is like the midwife between the board and the team. You get it? So whenever things need to be championed, either from the board or from the management team, he was the midwife who would champion, because he's a voice of the company. So he understood the business, and maybe I can say probably more than all of us, because he spoke to all of us. So he ended up having more information than all of us.
I get.
You get, eh?
Yeah.
So he a mix of youth and his experience became such a package that was able to open doors that would otherwise not be opened for us. You know, he became the giant on whom we stood on his shoulders to leap forward. You know, and that's why. And I believe, and this is what I've always seen in my life, God doesn't come in person to speak to you physically, but He comes to you through people.
Exactly.
And I believe that He sent to us CK, He sent us to CK, you know, so that He could do His purpose through us too. So, and that's something that very many people didn't understand about the late CK. He's a gentleman that God really used to touch very many lives. And we give him credit for that, because he stopped being a director, a chairman for investment company. He became our father and mentor. He knew our families, our wives, our children. He knew everything. You know, what was going on. He was present. He never lacked time for us. But that also gave us a lot of confidence to do bold things that we would never have been able to do without that push.
Yes.
Yeah, and then of course he had an insatiable hunger to do the unthinkable, the impossible, to dare the impossible, which was very good. My name is Pius Muchiri, the Managing Director of Nabo Capital, and you're watching Invest in Africa. So Dr. Kirubi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pius.
It's great to see you. It's great to feel your strength.
Yes.
Yeah?
Right.
Amazing. And, Dr. Kirubi, I've been very honored to work with you over the last 14 years. And for me, from the first day that I met you, the thing that has stood out for me is your insatiable hunger to succeed. You just never get satisfied. Your unparalleled work ethic. And I remember one statement that you've always told me, Pius, my work is my holiday. So when you're going on holiday, it's always a sad time, because you're wondering, why is everybody else going on holiday? Yet your work is your holiday. And you absolutely love what you do. Those are the things that really strike me. And when I just think about the last 14 years, I would like to summarize my lesson into 3 words: the billionaire's mindset. And what you have taught me is that success is not a destination. It is a mindset. It is a way of life. So Dr. Kirobi, a lot of people out there who are watching this, they have known you when you're wealthy. And I was just imagining, no one was born wealthy. Growing up, what could possibly have triggered such passion to succeed?
Pius, life can be what you want. You can be wealthy if you choose to be wealthy, and you can be poor if you choose to be poor. And most people are poor because they've never decided to be wealthy. And therefore, everybody must have a mindset of what
for all of us. I think for me, what I've come to see with the success in life, especially organizational success, it's like God sets up a team. He gathers a group of people and really uses them in a way that no man could have put that team together.
Unconventional manner.
Yes. But if you try to replicate it, you can't replicate it.
Yep.
It is impossible to do it yourself. So for me, I really believe God really gathers people. And that was a team that God gathered in Centum 2.0. From the board to management team, everything was just in place.
Okay. We'll come back to CK later on in the conversation because I think explaining that interview that you did with him on the Nabo Capital YouTube channel. Go and watch it, by the way, if you're listening to this. Go and check out the interview that Pius did with CK. Amazing conversation. But before that, by the time now you're transitioning into Nabo, has your first child come?
Yes.
How can you? What story is that?
Yes. There's a lot of dimensions in this. Let me take a small break.
Let's take a break. We'll be back.
Yes.